I get a text message one morning from him, and it says they took it. That was it. They took it. I called him. I said, "What are you talking about?" They took my money. I didn't get it.
All right, guys, thanks for joining us on the Elation podcast today, where we enjoy exhilarating euphoria through creation and collaboration. Today, we're here with Alison Edmonson. How are you?
Hey, good. Thank you.
Absolutely. Good to have you here.
Thank you for having me, David.
So you are the co-founder of Harmony Street Society,
Correct.
correct?
Yes.
Would you tell us a little bit about what you guys do?
Well, we have a pro bono service for musicians and artists, mostly in New Orleans, but across the country, where we provide tax workshops. Also, we do tax returns for them, back taxes, and it's much more than that, but that's it in a nutshell.
I got you. So tax season right now, so I'm sure you're getting a lot of phone calls.
I am.
Well, so where are you from? What started your journey here? Are you from here?
I'm from Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
Okay.
Born and raised there. I live there now. We do love New Orleans, but at the time we're still in Baton Rouge.
Okay, I got you. And music, what was your journey in music? Do you just love music, or what made you start helping artists?
Well, that was, I think it was a gift.
Okay.
That my husband and I, Jim, we were married in New Orleans, May 1989, St. Charles Avenue at the Columns Hotel.
Okay.
Had a great time.
Beautiful.
So how it started is because we were coming to New Orleans to celebrate our anniversary. And we were going to spend a couple of nights in the French Quarter. But a couple of days before we came here, I said to Jim, I was like, you know what? I think we're talking too negative. Why don't we talk about pleasant things that make us happy? And so we were like, okay, we agreed. This is what we're doing. And for like a few days before we came here, that's what we were doing. And it changed my spirit for sure.
Right.
And we were just happy-go-lucky, having so much fun. And in New Orleans, our first night here, we went to eat at GW Finn's. It was delicious. Topped it off with a chocolate bomb cake.
Right.
So it was so good. Night 2, we go to Jack's to eat, and the waiter was like, "Do you want dessert?" And I was like, "No, I want to get back to GW Finn's and get that chocolate bomb again."
Right.
So we go to GW Finn's to get our cake, and it is packed. We're sitting at the bar waiting for our cake, and in walks Erica Dudas and her friend Danielle. We had never met them. And Erica at the time was running the New Orleans Musicians Clinic Foundation. She oversaw it. And she's a very sharp individual. So they came up to the bar standing around us, and we just got to talking. And Erica wants to know what we do. And Jim tells her that I'm a tax expert. Her eyes lit up. She's like, "Tax expert? I know some people that need your help." Immediately, she formed a vision for us to help the musicians in the clinic with their tax issues that cause stress, and it's unhealthy.
Right.
So that night is when we started Harmony Street Society.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Just talking how New Orleans talks. Like, that's one thing that I love about the city is how the conversations you can have just at a bar waiting on food. Mm-hmm. In most cities, you don't have that pleasurable experience when you sit next to somebody random, but New Orleans somehow brings us all together. It's got a heart that we all just seem to fall in love with.
Yes, it's a heartbeat. We love it here. And yeah, the next morning we met for breakfast. Megan from the clinic was there, and we formed a plan. We met constantly by Zoom or, in person, and started off like day one, took on a musician.
Wow.
We settle everybody that comes to Harmony Street.
Wow.
So,
what do you find is the number one issue that musicians are not handling for taxes?
Well, they're self-employed.
Right.
So you're not an employee with the taxes taken out every pay. And they don't really understand the system. It's complicated. So
It's meant to scare you.
Listen,
Am I wrong? It's kind of meant to scare you.
I've been doing it for a long time, and it's not always clear to me. So it's just overall the system, how it's so complicated,
Right.
and what they're supposed to do, they don't know.
Well, and you've got to have receipts for everything. You got to, you got to properly, file everything. You've got to properly, keep the numbers, and a lot of it's cash, and so
gig
there's
economy.
probably a lot of ins and outs that they don't just formally handle from the beginning. So what's that process like? What would be like what's the first steps of helping an artist who, let's say, maybe hasn't filed in 5 years?
Okay, well, I talked to them about their situation. They're all different. And where are you coming from? Are you getting letters from IRS? Are you
Right.
getting letters from the state? And I get power of attorney. So once I get the power of attorney, I can go online and pull their records and see where they are, where they stand.
Right.
At that point, I formulate a plan, best for the musician, and implement the plan. When they leave, it's taken care of, and I only need to see them once a year now for the annual tax return.
Right.
And I do it with compassion and joy. We absolutely adore meeting and getting to know the musicians here and the artists.
Well, so, one of the things that is big on my goals and why I built this place was to try to create a better music business culture down here. And taxes are obviously part of that culture because, we have great creatives, we have great, energy and people who create things for the masses that don't necessarily know how to turn that and keep that turning into money. Even if they get the one check, they don't handle the next part right. And that whole business-minded culture, I feel like, has not grown down here. Which is why a lot of the artists have to leave the city to go actually be professional artists and professional musicians.
Right.
So if we can create that culture that where people actually do proper business and create a professionalism inside it, we'll have a growing culture of business, a growing culture
Right.
of creatives that know what they're doing.
Right, and they'll be more successful, be more at ease.
Absolutely. Is there one artist you can think of that you enjoyed the most helping?
Well, there was one that I had to meet him at the IRS office, Porter Street. And I had to be on my best behavior, right? Because they're rough when you walk in,
Right.
It's not a friendly atmosphere environment. And he had to go there to prove his identity. Okay?
Right.
It's nonsense. But I went with him
Right.
because he couldn't get his refund until he proved his identity. So I really, I love them all. But that was an experience because it was so hard for me to be polite. I was wanded,
Oh yeah.
Oh, and
yeah, no, because they're not nice to you.
no, they're not. They told us to get out,
Yeah.
and they weren't going to help him. But he sweet talked the lady into getting. We left there an hour later with what we needed, and he got his refund. So we stick to it.
Stick to it. No,
We don't take no for an answer.
it's like talking to the insurance companies. They don't want to be nice to you.
No.
It's all about them collecting every dime that they can get, So it's very daunting task to talk about taxes. I mean, I think especially with anybody who's self-employed, I think it's a daunting task. What would be your advice on a musician who's just starting? What would be the best things that they can do for the foundation of their taxes to start on a proper playing field?
One easy way to do it is if you open a checking account separate from your personal, and just keep all your business running through there, and then you have statements
Right.
that you can look at,
Then it's kind of easy to go back and look at the backlog because you don't have to separate.
and you don't have to have a formal business.
Right.
An individual can go in, even if you open a separate account in your own name,
Right.
but you designate it to your business.
Right.
So
That's good advice.
keep it
Well,
simple.
and write-offs are different than they used to be too, right? You can't really write off meals and stuff like you used to be able to, right?
Well, for if you're an independent contractor, self-employed, you can,
Okay.
depending on, where you are, if you're especially if you're out of town. But where it changed was if you're an employee, you can't write that off
You can't write
anymore.
that off anymore,
Yeah,
right?
which is rough on salesmen.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, because that was whining and dining and greeting
Yeah,
was how it went.
tickets to the games and
Uh-huh. Yeah, 100%. How many things that we lose in society that make life harder for no reason, right? But where do you see the future taxes going? Do you think things are going to get easier throughout the next stages in our lives, or do you think things are going to get even more difficult?
I read the news every day to see where we're going.
Right.
Because it is so complicated right now that individuals, going on these tax software and trying to do it yourself. I had a tax workshop, and they all had their computers or whatever, their phones, and they attempted to do their own taxes. We sat there, we helped them.
It's a nightmare. I tried to do TurboTax one year, and I got about 15 minutes into the app, and I thought to myself, if I hit send, might go to jail. Like I have no idea what I just did. And it was scary, So like I ended up picking up the phone and going back to old school and just calling a CPA and dealing with it that way.
Right, because it is fearful.
Yeah.
And the terminology is confusing.
Oh yeah. But it's lawyer written for lawyers to win little cases and make money in. And that's how I feel like a lot of the government stuff is. It's almost written for attorneys to make the money, and insurance is the same way.
And the accountants.
Yeah, and the accountants, otherwise they would all kind of lose their job. How would you feel like if we went to a number system where it was one number, everybody paid one number?
The flat tax?
The flat tax.
I would be for it if the income level where it kicks in is high.
Right.
Couple $100,000, and then you pay on. You
right.
can.
And then you just do a flat 10%, whatever it may be across the board.
Yeah, something like that. It's fine. It's simple.
Yeah, simple.
Fill out a postcard and be done with it.
Right.
But the state of Louisiana's income tax return, it's like 6-7 pages.
Oh, it's ridiculous. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Well, and then what do you think about all these states getting rid of income tax?
Perfect. Please do it now.
So
Is it gone yet?
I don't know. Right, I saw Mississippi and Alabama are on their way to doing it right
Wonderful.
now. Yeah.
I love when someone says, I live in Tennessee. I'm like, all right, they don't have no income tax there.
No income tax. Yep.
No,
yep.
I think it's fair.
Yeah. I mean, there's enough things we pay for in society that they, if they spent their money properly, they wouldn't need to overtax us, right?
I agree 100%. I better not get into that too much. So.
Well, I mean, I know we talk about the one number, but I mean, how do you truly feel taxes should be looked at as a society? It shouldn't be looked at as almost a robbery.
It is.
Which is what it is now, right? It should be something that you should be happy you're putting back into society.
That is exactly right. It is a burden.
Right.
And it's definitely not a pleasant part of my career to, individuals and tell them you owe thousands or you need to withhold more throughout the year and things are tight already. And I don't think it's fair. I think it doesn't work.
Yeah. Have you worked with any of the conferences in town to talk about what you do and get your philanthropy out and try to get more artists help?
I have a couple of the CPA conferences they have here. There's not a lot of interest with the accountants. Their mindset is more different from me, that pay your fair share. Well, guess what? It's not fair.
Right. Right.
And it's a complicated system to actually file, and there's so many consequences if you don't do it right, and I would love to talk about a fairer system.
Right. Well, if we don't talk about it, we're not going to get one, right? I mean, you have to talk about it openly and push boundaries and make people feel like they should stand up for certain things. Otherwise, politicians are never going to make it easy for us, are they?
Doesn't look that way.
No. Well, for the future of Harmony Street, what do you think your goal is? What is it, if you have an end goal for next year, what would that be?
Well, we're just starting a campaign now to raise funds because everything, they don't pay us anything. It's 100% free to them. And so we rely on donations and grants to
Okay.
keep us going. So we're starting a campaign now to hire additional accountants or enrolled agents so we could, because there's so many out there. I'm at capacity right now. And I get one a day
Wow.
calling me, one at minimum.
Wow.
And so I always say yes, even though I.
You seem like you always say yes.
So we are
Unless
definitely.
it's an IRS agent.
Well, I still have my license after all these years.
After all these years.
I didn't think I would keep it, but.
That's funny.
So I definitely want to talk about the FEMA case.
Yes. So I was getting ready to ask you.
Okay. So it's early on when we just started Harmony Street, and I definitely have a desire. It's a company philosophy that anyone that comes through the Harmony Street Society family fold is going to be treated with the red carpet. They're getting the red carpet treatment. We have compassion, and there's dignity. Some people are embarrassed. They're like, "Oh, I'm so embarrassed." I'm like, don't be. This is typical.
Absolutely.
So early on, we had a young trombone player, wonderful, and he hadn't filed in a while. He didn't get the stimulus, 1, 2, or 3, and so I filed back taxes. He had big refunds because he was a father, had dependents and everything like that. He had a big refund coming, and I get a text message one morning from him, and it says they took it. That was it. They took it. I called him. I said, "What are you talking about?" They took my money. I didn't get it. It was a very, very difficult, time-consuming task to figure out where it went.
Right.
It's very secretive. You can't get through.
Right.
But I'm like, someone's going to get through, and that person's going to be me. So I find out Department of Treasury took his entire refund. Why? Because he owed FEMA from Hurricane Katrina.
No.
Yes. And so
how is that linked? like how is that?
Because they're all government agencies and they'll take your refund like that.
Man.
Took the entire thing. So I get power of attorney for Department of Treasury, call them, very hard to get through. But I did connect with someone that cared, and she worked with me, and they told me why he owed, because 2 people, he went to Mississippi, she went to Texas, their household. And then FEMA's at both places, right? Here, fill this out, apply for this grant. That we don't know their rules.
No.
And so, yes, okay,
and everybody's desperate at the time. Like, you're forcing people into contracts because they're desperate. They need money. You have money. I'm going to sign whatever you put in front of me.
They didn't have cell phones at the time. It's 2005. And so they both fill out the forms. Well, then they tell him, you got to pay it back. So that's when I said, well, listen, I want to see about, let's settle this case. He can't afford it. And she agreed. I think he might have still owed like $30,000.
Wow.
I just got a new case. I'm switching stories. I just got a new case a few days ago. The woman's still paying for Hurricane Katrina. But anyway, so we came to a settlement agreement. It was $4,500, which is a lot.
Right.
So I said, okay, we're going to accept the offer. And then I went and found the money because he couldn't pay it. I went and found it from an organization in New York.
Wow.
And they paid the whole thing. He started getting his refunds. It's done.
Wow.
So we go the extra mile.
That's awesome. That's a hell of a story. And in fact, to think that, like, that's still an issue, Katrina, like, that's nuts to me.
No. No refunds, garnishing wages. She's still paying.
It's just not fair. I
No.
mean, considering how they were treated by FEMA and what they went through in that moment, splitting up families, and I just can't. I don't know. It's just not fair. Going back to it, it's just not fair.
No.
Well, hopefully, some of this stuff will start to trickle down, and people will get laid off and fired, and maybe we'll get some new help. But all these programs are not really meant for us to move forward. So I think it's important for people like you and people that speak out locally to help move people through the process. But I think you should maybe go to some of the music conferences. Mm-hmm. and actually Music Con. We just had my last guest was Kirk and Melissa. They have artists that need help, and the artists would be happy to know that they actually have help, especially for tax stuff.
Our tagline is, until now they had no place to turn.
Is there another story you'd like to tell, or
Well, our tax workshops are held at the New Orleans Jazz Museum. They're free.
Okay.
And we weren't getting a lot of turnout because I do their work, and they're like, I don't need to go to your workshop. So we we started offering food. Now we have people coming.
There you go.
We're packed.
It's amazing how that happens, right?
Right. We got the Central Grocery muffalata, some Zapp's chips, and it was a full house.
Well, there you go. So, so when's the next workshop?
We just finished a series of 3 where we take them from the beginning, like you fill out a W-9 form when you get a gig. What is that? And I just go through it, write it legibly so they can read it. And we just go through the process of starting a gig through the end of the year. And it's 3 workshops. We don't have one scheduled yet, but we are going to be picking up pretty soon. The festivals are going on right now, so after that.
All right. Well, great. Well, let's try to do as much as possible to shine a light on the good work that you do, and anything that I can do to help, I will definitely send artists your way, because it's a daunting task for new and old artists. Mm-hmm. So at any age and at any stage, right?
Right.
Well, great. Well, thank you for coming today. I had a good conversation.
So did I.
And I appreciate the work that you do here in the city.
Why, thank you. It brings us joy. It's been a great time for us.
No, you seem to just get happy by making people feel better and get over humps.
Yeah, elation.
Elation, that's right. It's what you get elation from, right?
Well, that and April 16th and mini eggs. But I did have someone come to the house yesterday, and he came in slumped. He had his manila folder full of papers year after year. Slumped. There's some notices, some very aggressive notices from the state. They'll take your fishing license, your driver's license.
Your freedom, yeah, basically.
And so he came in slumped, and I went through his story, got power of attorney. When he walked out, I said, you know what, everything's going to be fine. Thank you, he says, and he was relieved. So another thing we did, I just thought of another story. One of the musicians has a suspended driver's license for not having insurance. And so I was like, not on my watch. I'm going to meet you. It's the Department of Motor Vehicles, Friday afternoon. I took a cab there. This is a labor of love. And he owed like $780 to get the license. I found someone to pay it. We go there. It's Friday afternoon. They say no. We left there at 5 o'clock. I'm not leaving. 5 o'clock, he walked out with his driver's license.
It's amazing how they hold you hostage. I mean, it's really like, that's what, I think that's the part that's the scariest part is if you start to make those wrong steps as far as not filing or just not caring about it, and then you get so deep into it, well, if I go and file now, I'm going to put myself in trouble because you bring all the light to the things that you did wrong. So I think it becomes just this daunting task that is scary to step in front of.
Right.
So no, that's awesome. I like I said, I love what you do here for the city.
And I just wrote down some numbers. I didn't, because we're going to be 4 years old next May or next month, and I filed 462 tax returns.
Wow.
I've done I think 10 years is the most for one person, but whatever it takes.
Wow.
Refunds, because this is how we're helping the city for our beloved artists.
Right. What keeps New Orleans moving?
Lively.
Absolutely.
The refunds, $227,972.
Wow.
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
Now, one of them was big. There's one real big one in there.
One big one.
That's it. I just wanted to say
That's
that.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, let's hope we double it next year. How's that?
Hey, yeah, definitely. And eliminate it.
And right. There you go.
Did I say that? Yes,
Eliminate it. Eliminate the tax issues. Well, thank you guys. Thank you so much. And thank you guys
David.
for joining us on the Elation podcast. And if you'd like to, is there a website or socials that you'd like to?
HarmonyStreetSociety.org is our website. And we list our free lunch and learns. And yeah, you can go there.
Awesome. Well, great. We'll go there and check out one of the workshops and go learn about how your taxes should be filed so that you can get ahead of the problem. And thank you guys again for joining the Elation podcast. And if you please like and subscribe if you'd like to see more. Peace.